Hey lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we are going to learn how to make this beautiful fabric mix gown. So if that is what you are interested in, please stay tuned and watch till the end of this video. Thank you. Starting off, I already folded my fabric into 4 and I'm marking out the length of my sleeves. In this case I used 25 inches. So now I'm coming down by 1.5 for my shoulder slope. I'll go back to the folded edge and I'll measure out the neck width of my gown, and I'm going to connect that my 1.5 at my shoulder slope to my neck width, and I'll use a straight line to connect. At my shoulder slope, I'll come down by 11 inches for my shoulder width, and that's 10 inches for the wideness and 1 inch for allowance. I'll also mark out the 25 inches I use as my sleeve length, so I'll be able to mark a straight line connecting to my shoulder slope. At the folded edge, I'm going to mark out from my shoulder to my navel point, and I'll indicate with a chalk, and from there I'll mark out the largest part of my body divided by 4 plus 4 inches for ease, and I'll just mark that straight down. After marking that, I'm going to connect with a broken line. So because I'll be cutting my front and back neck together, I'm just going to come down by 1 inch for my neck depth, and I'll connect it back to my neck width. After that, I'm just marking out my shoulder to my navel point all across the fabric. From that point, I'll be coming down by 2 inches after my hip line. So whatever you're going to use as your hip line, add 2 more inches to it, or you can just choose to come down by 10 inch. Whichever one you choose is fine. And I'll connect with a broken line. At my navel point line, I'm going to mark out my half of my bust pan measurement, and after I mark that out, I'm just going to maintain a curve from there down to my hip line. So why I had to mark out my bust pan is because I don't want my curve to start directly from the folded edge, so I just wanted a U form. That's why I'm connecting it like that. At this point, you can decide to add your second fabric underneath this particular one. You will just start it at the navel point line. So you can either do that, or you can choose to do this style I'm doing. I'll go ahead to cut that out. So now I'm just going ahead to place my second fabric folded into 4 underneath this particular fabric, and I'm going to start it from my navel point line. So that's why I said if you wanted to place your your second fabric, you can also do that before cutting out this U shape, but this is how I did mine, and it will also work the same way. And I'll just cut where my curve is following at my second fabric. After cutting it out, I'm just going to notch the middle of my plain fabric and my pattern fabric. So coming to the hemline of my gown, I'm going to mark out the largest part of my body divided by 4 plus 2 inches. 2 inches, not the initial 4 we used at the top part. And I'll come up from that point by 5 inch because that's where I'll be stopping my sewing. So at this point, all I'm doing is forming a curve, sort of like a cow shape form, down to that my hemline that I came up by 5 inches. So just take a look at what I'm doing in the video. All you have to do is just freehand it, eyeball it, and just to get what you want. So because the bottom part of my gown is not straight, I'm just going to connect from that 5 inches I came up by at the hemline with a slight U. So just take a look at what I'm doing in the video. All you have to do is freehand everything. After that, I'll go ahead to cut it out. I'll be notching that 5 inch I came up by, so I'll know that this is where I'm going to stop my stitch. So I'll use a chalk to indicate the up parts, the down parts, and I'm just marking out the wrong sides of my fabric. So at this point I already separated my front and back fabric for the top part, and I'm just going to mark out my chest line measurement at this point, and I'll connect with a straight V line down because this is what I'm going to use for my front neckline. I'll go ahead to cut that out. So at this point I'm just going to take out both of my fabric, and you remember we notched the middle point. I'm just going to place it right sides facing each other, and I'll sew from the middle to the side seam, the middle to the side seam. Just take a look at how I'm doing it in the video, so you can either use a pin to hold or you can just freehand it. So after that, this is what you are going to be left with. Now I'm just placing my front and back pieces together. So my client is actually on the larger side, so don't think that this is too big. So now we join the shoulders together. After joining the shoulders, I'll fold in my sleeves and I'll join the side seam, and you see where I'm indicating, that's where the notch is, that's where I'm going to stop sewing. So after that, this is what you are going to be left with. So from there you will flip it over to the side seam. Now currently I flipped mine over, and this is the side seam because we are going to mark out the pockets. I want my pocket to follow the V shape at my side seam. So if you are not using two mixed fabric to do your pocket, you can just iron to know the midpoint, but me, I'm using two mixed fabric, so because I joined it at the middle, I already know where my midpoint is, and I'm just going to place it at the middle of my side seam. And you can see me trying to get that triangle shape. I'm just going to place and follow the triangle shape at that point. After that, we'll be folding in all the edges of our pockets to attach to our main gown. So I'm just showing you how you are going to do it. But I actually folded mine and used a hemming gum to secure in place first before putting it on my gown, because if I'm going to do like the folding on my gown, it's going to be stressful. So I'm just indicating how you are going to sew it and hem it. So at this point I already folded in all the edges of my pocket, and I'm just going to secure it to the side seam. Now this is my side seam. I'm placing it middle of my pocket line to the middle of the side seam, and I'm going to use my hemming gum to secure in place. And at this point I'm also going to attach my tassel to secure in place so that I can just sew everything once. When you are done, you will do the same for the other side pockets, and I'm just going to secure everything in place, and after sewing my pockets I'll sew my hem of my gown, and that will be all for this gown.